Okay, that is on. Okay, sorry. Everything's set up now. YouTube stream rolling, TikTok stream rolling. Right off the jump here, we're seeing some selling on NQ. We're trying to break below our 200 EMA and our VWAP right there. So we're going to mark out our little day here. Low of day, hourly low. Boom. Price ripping to the downside. ES not as strong. Strong selling off the jump here. Testing our 200 EMA on the 5-minute chart on ES here and VWAP. See what we get. Zooming out to our hourly chart, we'll turn off our session VWAP, we'll turn on our weekly VWAP and monthly VWAP. First we'll look at our weekly. So on the weekly, we are down to our 1 standard deviation band, which I believe, yeah. Pulled back to our 2 standard deviation band of our weekly VWAP, showed support. So we'll see if price wants to pull back into, you know, if we want to close up here at some point. If we look at our monthly, within our range on our monthly. Curious if this gap gets created here on ES. Gap break through our 200 EMA. This would be a valid zone for me to watch for potential shorts. And if we get a reversal, a break back through, longs. But we'll see if it gets created. We still have 3 minutes left on this candle. voided. Okay. We got a gold, nothing. Watching and waiting. Where's our, why is that off? ES at 200 EMA, VWAP, NQ broke below with this gap here. But we have a wick touching our indicators. So remaining patient. Dang, NQ. Yo, morning, morning, morning. Appreciate the follow. Just watching right now. ES is at support. NQ ripped through it. So we'll see what it wants to do here. We turn on that weekly. That the one standard deviation of our weekly VWAP NQ is. So we could see potential buyers out of here. ES. ES kind of finding resistance at that one standard deviation band, which is interesting. Morning, morning, morning. Morning, NDZ. Did your trade work out yesterday? I saw we got a nice push. So like right in this area. Are you able to enter off that? You know, kind of consistently sold off too. ES is in a tight range. Entered at 11:45 Eastern, sold at 350 for a nice profit. Yeah, everyone signed off, including myself. I was like, I'm off of this, And then sure enough, when everyone gets off, then it moves. And like, beautiful move off of it too. It was nice. 11:45. Oh, right here. Entered at 11:45. Yeah, that was nice. That's nice profit. And you had a nice open and just popped to the downside. Basically, we opened up and sold. Per usual, classic conditions these days. Open, sell 200 points. How it goes. Nice. How does it look so far, NDZ? How does it look? Because like with that strategy in the summer months, it's tricky because usually in summer months it's lower volume. We consolidate, and that's why, you know, people have been complaining so much lately, is because like prices like consolidates a lot. It's very manipulative in the summer. So when you back test, I feel like when you back test those winter months, January till like, you know, April, March, and then like September till November, and then you see what that is, that's when you know like you implement this opening range strategy. And then maybe in the summer you have a different, more of like a range bound strategy that then you'll implement. But like using it, especially an opening range strategy in those months where like, you know, we're moving more, we're trending more, I find that it works better. At least like my numbers, when I'm like my orb numbers, so much better when it's like high volume. But summer, like orb has been getting waxed in the summer lately because of it just consolidates more. It's how it goes. Yeah. Maybe you could try it on just the 5-minute opening range. Everything on the 5-minute chart, 5-minute opening range. That way you could potentially catch those morning pushes. We can help exit before the... Yeah. I don't mind that idea. Thanks for the follow. Gabriella, thank you for the follow. Or even like a break of the 20 EMA or something like that. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't like your idea of like creating this, really nice mechanical strategy and everything. It especially like, when you don't want to be on charts all day, like that's, I like that move. And I think, if you figure out like a really nice system with, only like a few variables, you're good to go. This is selling. Once you have, like, I've been in your situation, NDZ, when you're like, you have this like idea, and then when you back test it and everything, the back testing becomes really fun because it's like you're getting it all out there and you're like, oh, like this. Oh, but like, okay, this consistently loses when it's like at VWAP or 200 EMA, and then you start to like implement these little things that you never like, thought to think of or include on your chart. It's like self-discovery. You can listen and watch a YouTube video about that self-discovery when you're back testing and like looking at things is so valuable. I'm sure you're experiencing that right now, and it's like fun. You're like excited for the weekend. You're like, sick. I'm excited to like back test this and see like what the numbers look like. Yeah. I was like, that's how I came to like, I don't know, implement it. Yeah. Literally, I was doing the same thing you were doing right now of like back testing everything. And I'm like, anytime I'm trying to take like these breakouts and like these moves and we just get hit by a wall, and then I like I literally just so happened to have like perfect timing and everything. The 200 EMA for some reason on my chart at this point in time, and it was like the 5 minute, and I was like looking at it and I'm like, wow, I'm like, the reactions off of this EMA are insane. And then I'm like looking at it for breakouts and I'm like, okay, so every time we break out into the 200 EMA, or like if it's not with the 200 EMA, I'm like, it generally loses most of the time. So then you just, you implement it. You're like this, in order, yeah, like seeing 2,000 view, yeah, for sure. And you just like, you find these like little nuances of it. And it's cool when you've kind of built it yourself too. And I love that people use other people's like strategies and stuff. And like, yes, like you can build like, trade off of someone's exact strategy, but until you take what like they're kind of giving you and do it yourself and go on the charts yourself and like enjoy it, back test it, look at it, find these different things, it's like, I think that's the only way when it starts to click and you're like, okay, it just becomes more enjoyable for some reason, and you like become like, more of a, I don't know, student of the charts, I guess you would say. It's like you're building your business in a way. It's like your baby. Your strategy's like your baby, and you're like, taking care of it, guiding it along. You should look, I don't know, I think you sometimes can get in trouble with it, but like, I know you trade the cash, like the stock on the S&P. I'm curious if the options would print for it or not. Or is it just because sometimes the moves are so slow that you might get chewed up by the Greeks? Be curious to see if like, it works for options. I feel like, but with options, you have to be so much more like on it and managing everything. And you can't really have like hard stops on options, which is tough, but you just, you can make more. do think eventually NDZ, like your, like that strategy and everything for futures contracts, I think you can like, you know, I think you could print with futures with this strategy as well. Yeah, digging into the back test to get what you're saying. More about digging into the back test. Yep. I don't know, it's fun. You'll like, as you do it more and more, at least this is what happened with like me. As you do it more and more and more, it's like, and sometimes you have to be careful because then you start changing too many things and now you're like, oh, there's so much like, you know, there's so many things that are now in my head. You have to like kind of be careful of that. But simple things like the 200 EMA or, you know, VWAP being on your side are important. I think also my algo is now all get my orb strategy or comment orb to get my paid signals. Yeah, that'll happen. I mean, look at all these. 99% sure signal, confirmed signal. Damn, chill. Let's get orb strategy. Yeah. It's how it goes. It's how it goes in the trading world. I like, let's see. So ES broke out of the orb. ES broke out of the orb under 200 EMA and VWAP, but we were kind of holding VWAP all throughout. Keep you updated on the data. Yeah, please do. I kind of know what you're looking for now as well, so I'll be watching like forward testing in a way, like watching the market and being like, okay, this is, you know, potential entry. So like on NQ, because it didn't happen, we broke, but didn't have a consecutive candle. But I kind of know what you're looking for now. See that. I've dabbled in selling options. It was great when the market was ripping. Yeah. One of my good friends is like learning how to build up like a fully like coded automatic options bot that just like prints money. I guess it's going well for him. Make an AI hedge fund. So if I dumped, I got stuck. Options were a slippery slope. Like I liked options, but like when I lost. Like I lost. It was quick. It was so fast. You lose so fast. You lose so much so fast. But when you win, you know, like if you catch a move and you're in it for a while, it's, you know, it's printing and it can like 5x your account. But when you lose, gold buy now. TP stop loss in bio. The chat, the gold, the bot chat. When you lose in options, I was like, oh man, I'm losing. Tricky. I liked it though. I like the idea of it. Whew. Huh. All right. I will be back in a second. It'll be quick. We got a potential move happening here. All right, we're back. Look at that, ES chopping, NQ dumped. Shocking? Not at all. Chopping. ES is chopping at 200 EMA and VWAP. Do you take any trades in Asia session? No, but I should have. What was I looking at? It was like right off the rip on NQ. Like on NQ here. Like right off the jump. This was my key zone right here. And look, every time we tapped it, support, like it was beautiful. Then we made a new key zone right here, and then tap, resistance, broke above, tap, ripped. So on NQ specifically, like during the overnight session and Asia session, you know, basically could have caught the bottom of this entire move, which would have been nice, but no, I did not. I just feel like I'm not, you know, locked in. I don't know. I just feel like I'm not locked in on Asia session. Like I need to like not trade New York. I think New York's going to be back once, you know, we get out of August and these summer months. I think we'll be back. Everyone's just kind of like panicking. I think everything's all good. It's just summer price action. And I feel like we forget every time. We forget about summer price action and we forget about December price action. And you just see it so much because, you know, people are just, when it's choppy and there's no good trades to make content on, people make content like myself on complaining about price action. So you just see it more right now. But it's just summer chop, how it goes. You gotta be like locked in come September, October, November, locked in. Dang, NQ. Holy smokes. ES is holding strong. Dang. It's crazy how much like ES is holding and then NQ just looks completely different. It's kind of been the trend lately, but it's wild. And I don't know, like, who do we trust? Who do we trust? Rejecting VWAP and 200 EMA. Where's SPYs? SPYs 200 EMA is up there, but VWAP same. Yeah. Oh. Didn't even realize, you know, sometimes you just don't even realize what you're doing until someone's like, reminds you. It's like, oh, yeah, that's right, I was. The chop is real. Oh, so we took low day on NQ, showing some support off that. Interested to see what happens there. ES still chopping, so SPY, yeah, still chopping around at that VWAP. Dang. Look at that, we sniped that previous day point of control. And just rejected off of it. Look at that. Gorgeous. Taps it, dump. Interesting. you talking like VWAP, like EMA stays. EMA stays into the next day, like it won't move, but VWAP does because it's tracks that session. So it tracks the session, so it'll shift to like the new session. So if we look at ES, like see here, so when this session ends, that VWAP is over, and then this one is the new one that starts up. Obviously you can do different things, like you can, instead of session, you can go weekly VWAP, and that will just stay the same for the entire week. It'll anchor it on the start of the week, and as the week progresses, you know, the average, you know, the volume weighted average price stays the same for the week. And then when the new week starts, the new VWAP starts. You can also do the same thing for like a month. So here's the monthly VWAP. So here's our monthly VWAP with 1 standard deviation bands off of it. So the start of the month, August 1st right here. No. It'll stay like if you're looking at past data. No, like this is all accurate into real time. Like real time, that's all the same. It moves as price goes. It should be anchored to your session. So it should be anchored on that session, and it won't change. So when you're looking at past data, like I assume you're talking like back testing, it'll be accurate as to what you see like right now, real time. It's the same as it past. Yeah, so if you're on, I assume you're on TradingView, like when you go past to like past data, it's all like, this is all created, the indicators are all created based off of that past data. Like they won't factor in what has happened in the future. This is all like based on, you know, what happened during this specific session. And then this is on this specific session and everything. Yeah, yep, there you go. Here we go, attempting a break again. Here we go. See if it holds. Yeah. Yep. That's what I'm watching your setup as well. Oh, oh. I think you're still good, right? Or is that too close? $0.01. Got 1 cent away. It's like they knew. Yeah, it knows. Oh, that's hilarious. I mean, it's not, but yeah, invalid. Dang, that last 30 seconds was insane. Yeah, ES tapped back into it. Dang. Dang. Now back to waiting. So does it need to be 2 consecutive? It needs to be break, break. So if you get a down close candle now, so if it's like, okay, we've broken, if you just get a red candle that doesn't tap into the opening range, is that valid? Or does it need to be a 1-2? Any down red that doesn't touch. Okay. Yeah, sounds good. So is this one invalid then as well? Since both of these wicked. I say yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Right, it's in the works. It's in the brain file. Huh. Interesting piece of evidence. at VWAP, 200 EMA on ES. What are we going to get here? Is it going to want to break? Is it going to want to break? Is it going to want to break? Come on. There we go. Get some movement. Get some movement. Oh. All right. Let's get a piece of gum in. Dang. Just choppy again. Range bound. choppy moves. Yeah, I think anytime it's like, I mean, it's choppy right now, but anytime like orb breaks, fails, breaks, tries to break again, fails again, I think maybe you make a mental note of one break and failure, that's fine. But like, if it breaks again and then it fails again, you know, maybe you look to like, that could be break, fail, close above VWAP, and then have a continuation candle above VWAP. You know, it could be your long signal. So like we closed above here, another green candle above, like we held. So then maybe you're like, all right, we're gonna enter long, stop at the lows. I'm just gonna play to the other side of the opening range for like a fake out. I think a lot of times, like sometimes when it breaks and it goes back in and it breaks again, you can still see the continuation. But if it breaks a second time, and then I think like you have to make a mental note of like, it has to close above something, like something, it can't just close back in the opening range. There has to be some sort of like indicator or signal of it closing back within. Then I think like on the day where we tested 200 EMA, yeah, so like on this day where we test 200, we test 200 EMA, failed, tried to break again, failed for a second time, and then we closed below VWAP, and then you're like, okay, closed below, held, boom, shorting that, stop there, you know, targeting whatever, the lows over here, or whatever you're feeling. But I think maybe you like make a note of like the kind of the W or M pattern, and then I think you just want to be able to stack confluences on it. So, you know, like a VWAP, a break, like a double failure, and then a close above VWAP, you know, that's your signal. Just as a confluence, instead of you being like, you know, deciding upon, all right, if there's two breaks and it closes back in, I go long. No, you got to be like, all right, if there's two breaks and we're breaking into support, like in this case, there's an opening gap here, support, and then we close back above VWAP, like, there you go. You know, you could write that down and then look at it this weekend. Or look at anytime it fails, look at anytime orb fails, why is it failing? Is I think kind of the like idea. And I mean, you're not going to figure out every time that it fails, but like the general time that it fails, why is it failing? All right, let's look at why it's failing every time. Yeah. Right. I agree. And like maybe that was like a poor choice of words of like saying that it's because it's not going to work every time, but like, you know. Dang, ES ripped. watching. Finally getting some movement on NQ here. We'll see what happens. Going into this huge 5-minute gap though, so could sell off from here, but we're watching. We're watching to see how price is going to interact here with VWAP. I mean, we took low of day. We did not take this low here at that 29,200 area, but we did take low of day. So we'll see what happens. Are we going to hold VWAP? Are we going to continue to push to the upside? I don't know. ES definitely ripped, which good for ES. So we'll see what happens here. We're testing that orb again on ES and SPY. I'm curious, NDZ, if you want to like look at this aspect of it or write it down, but if we get a gap up, how many times does the orb do this fake out stuff and then go to the upside? So if there's a gap up in SPY, what kind of happens? So here you can see gap down. So we had a gap down yesterday, and then look at that orb fake out, and then we dumped. Here we go, gap up in SPY, orb fake out, and then, you know, we ripped to the upside there. Gap down, but we didn't really fake out. We just kind of consolidated and slowly sold off. No gap, but eventually got below VWAP 200 EMA, sold off. No gap. No strong gap at least, but sold off. Here's a gap up, but just kind of ripped up. Here's a gap up, and then we had a fake break, and then we closed back. Fake break to VWAP, and then closed back in the opening range. Let's see, here's a gap up. Here's a gap up right here on, what is this? August 7th, gap up. And then we had this fake out and then ripped to the upside. Here's a gap up, but the orb was true and we ran to the downside. Gap up, moved up. Gap up, ripped. Gap up, kind of sold down to that 200 EMA and then found support back to the highs. Gap up, broke out to the 200 EMA, and then, you know, that was kind of choppy, but eventually we did. I wonder if you would get it stopped out down there. Maybe. Gap up, sell off. Gap down. Woo! Excuse me. Gap down, but it kind of continued up. Dang. Gap up, kind of swept the opening range low, and then moved to the upside. So here's a gap up, broke and continued. Bless you. Thank you. I appreciate that. yeah, I don't know. Something to look at. You know, once again, I don't want to overwhelm you with things, but, you know, I've just been looking at today and being like, okay, like, double fake out. And then I was like, what else happened? I'm like, oh, we had a gap up. You know, like maybe if when price is gapping up or down, and then I looked the next day and we had a gap down, look at that fake orb to the upside, and then sold off. You know, we had a gap up here. Fake break to the downside, ripped up. So, I don't know. I don't know if that happens every time. But maybe you could somehow build a rule set around it. If you're looking at it and there's a couple other confluences involved with it, you know, but it's a thought. But I do feel like you'd potentially have to catch it down here. If you're going to try to play the reversal, you'd have to catch it down here. But then if you're like going against your breakouts, I don't know, then it gets a little confusing with that. Or whatever. I'm invested now, so I'll be the first customer in your hedge fund. Got 200 EMA tap and sell. Tap, sell. Yeah, but you also don't want to, like, I don't know. I feel like you get in trouble sometimes with having like a bias or going in with like a bias and being married to that bias and then, you know, going against your idea. Yeah, for sure. You just gotta, I don't know, maybe look at it with the data, you know, as you're going back in time. Like we're going. So if we're looking at March, wait, let me jump. So that's the first day of April. But yeah, like look at this, you know, March 30th, we had a gap up, but also it's at 200 EMA. NVIDIA is the leader, take direction from NVIDIA. That, I don't mind that. This was gap up, sold off. Gap down, sold off. Gap down, sold off. Gap down, fake out, sell off. There's another one right there. You wait for the close below VWAP, take it short. Gap up, but just kind of consolidated. Gap down, but we moved up. More so consolidation, I'd say. Closed right at opening. Gap up. Decent little move here, but then eventually faked out to the downside. Just interesting, but then closes right around opening price. Here we go, here's gap down, continuation, gap down, sideways, gap down, continuation, gap up, sold off, gap up, consolidation, gap up, fake out, well, the 200 EMA. Yeah. Nvidia's the biggest company right now. Gap down, but move to the upside. Gap down, sold off. Yeah, I don't know. I'm bored as I watch this chop. Could see some support in here, but I'm waiting. Might be another no trade morning, which is futures. ESNNQ. Trade basically volume and price. So I like to use VWAP, the EMAs, previous day points of control, and then obviously key lows and highs. So price and volume. Scalp off the 5-minute chart as well. I do not mess with the 1-minute chart. So trade off 5-minute chart. 3. Yeah, I agree. 200 in VWAP. That's like, that's why I introduced it into, like, after all of my back testing and like countless hours of back testing, I just noticed that if you specifically like to trade the 5-minute chart, like the 200 EMA with the 5-minute chart, and then VWAP is obviously a super important indicator that everyone should always have on their chart, I think. And then you just look at those two things, and it can help you avoid bad trades, and it can help you understand, like, oh, are we going to pull back here? Or, it's just like a good directional filter, and just something good to have on your chart is that VWAP. So I also like previous day point of control. Like if we look down here on NQ today, we had so much consolidation around that previous day point of control. Best strategy with IQ is orb, always works with me. Orb. I love orb. NQ. Oh. Do you scalp off the 1-minute? What orb are you using? 15.5, 9:30 open, 8 a.m. pre-market open. Like, how do you use it? Yeah, so the 15-minute opening range. Yeah, same. Off the 5-minute chart, or are you scalping off like 1-minute moves? Off breaks, retests. One minute, I like it. You trade off like gaps being created on breakouts. Like that was clean today on NQ. Like a gap breakout of the orb. You know, targeting. What did it get up to? You know, 1-to-1s, 1.5s. Cool. I'm going to keep an eye out, but I need to go. Yeah, someone, oh, they were billing. Have a good weekend. All right, sounds good. We'll see you later. I'm also probably going to sign off. It's 11:30. Been on stream for 2 hours. Basically had this open and dump on NQ, and we've been crawling back, but no trades. Didn't see a good entry that I liked, so no trades. If I do take a trade, I will post it in my Discord. But yeah, as of now, we're just on a no trades Friday, which is fine by me. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining in, and that's the stream. That's how we're gonna end the week. Just another weird week, but you know what? It's all good. Yeah, every morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern till 11:30 Eastern, live stream for free on TikTok and YouTube. Once again, it's for free. Discord is also for free. So everything I do is free. It's all linked in the bio. Feel free to, join along. Come trade with me. Come trade with the community. We're small, but we're building. So yeah, we'll see everyone on Monday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern for a fresh week in the last week of August, I believe. I believe that's the last week. If I'm wrong, that's my bad. But anyway, peace.